Hello everybody, a new order just came in and we will unbox it together. These aren't as many cards in the last orders that I had, but there are definitely way more quality cards in here. So let's check them out. All right, already great packaging here. I appreciate it. Alright, first batch of cards, then the last two. Looks good. This is the last one. Alright, put that aside. We can check out what arrived today. Gotta be really careful here with the knife, but I hope that they are still sleeved. All right, no, they are not. They are not sleeved. Okay, only in paper. Risky move. So I have to be really careful here. Right, this works better. This is the last batch of cards. All right, we have a few cards. Let's check them out together. Root Wire Amalgam. All right, one of the newest cards from the Brothers War. Pretty cool card. Happy to have that one. Then we have an activated Sleeper Borderless. You may have activated Sleeper enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature card in a graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn, except it's a Phyrexian in addition to its other types. Okay, can be useful. We continue with a Borderless Radha's Firebrand from Dominaria United. Then we have a Borderless Drag to the Bottom. Pretty good card in my opinion. In a 5-color deck this can be a pretty heavy board wipe, so I'm happy to have that one. Continue with a Borderless Guardian of New Benalia. Not only powerful in a soldier deck, but can be also played in the Boros Reanimator deck with the Invoke Justice, so a useful card here. We have a foil Citizen's Rest, cool. Foil Call to the Feast, okay, making some vampire tokens here. An Augur Spree, alright, in foil here, this is a pretty cool removal because it's -4 toughness. That can be a good removal, also for indestructible creatures. We continue with a Deep Analysis, also a cool card. There are quite a few flashback decks out there that run this card, also in foil, super dope. We have a Band Charm, all right. A lot of different modes, but I do have to say none of them sound really that attractive, but I'll take it. Hostage Taker, we all know and love this card, such a great removal. Then we have Ataka's Command. Always keep in mind that you can choose 2 modes. That is, yeah, for 2 mana you have a very flexible card here. Take it. Babali Saga alternative artwork. All right, we have the normal one and now we also have the alternative one. Cool card. We continue with a Thief of Sanity. Also a pretty strong card in my opinion. Phases Carcassonne. This one is in Deutsch, but or in German. Gotta keep in mind that I switch between languages here. But this is simply a really good card and I'm happy to have this one. We have a Slaughter Specialist here. Yeah, can be helpful in certain commander decks. Primal Adversary. All right, nice mythic pickup here. and also a strong creature card. And yeah, interesting for wolf tribal decks. We have a treasure token. I wanted to have a few of those simply because treasures have become more and more included to the game, and yeah, they are also very powerful. Who would have guessed? So having a token might be cool. There's an English one here. We continue with a Vile Entomber. All right. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a card. Put that card into your graveyard, then shuffle. This can get out of hand really quickly. It does a lot. Yeah, it might not look like a really powerful card, but there are a lot of graveyard synergies that might play this card. Prismatic Ending, I don't know in which modern deck this one got played or is still being played, but yeah, it's a strong card, and yeah, happy to have one. We have an Ether Eternal Sphinx, I believe it's called in English. This one is in German, so yeah, all right, pretty expensive Cascade card. Then we have an Arc-bound Shikari, all right. Nested Shambler in foil. Yeah, I wanted to have this one because it's being played in a lot of different combo decks out there. And yeah, can be helpful to have one of those. Bone Shards, also in foil, really cool. And I got 2 of those. The token for the Replicating Ring from Kaldheim might be an interesting token to have. Keep in mind also the tokens are token snow artifacts. Might be interesting for a few cards out there. All right, then we have an alternative artwork, Harold, King of Scamfar. I don't think it's a really played card, but in a few elf decks, who knows, maybe it's interesting. Usher of the Fallen. Yeah, back in Standard this was a really powerful card, and it still is. But I don't think it's being played in any format right now. Then we have Raydan, God of the Worthy. All right. I think front side is already powerful, but the back side, I gotta speak this correctly, Valkmira Protector Shield, also a really powerful legendary artifact that still a lot of players don't understand how it works, but keep in mind it's a great card out here and also great pickup. Another treasure token, take it. Amorphous X, yeah, I simply picked it up because it was a good pickup, and I don't know if it's being played in a lot of different decks, but the every creature type was the text line that I found interesting, so maybe it's being played in some tribal decks where you have synergies with it, but yeah, all right. Then we have a Clockwork Dragon, a card that I personally haven't seen before, but yeah, it looks cool and might be interesting since the new Power Stone tokens came out and they can use, or the colorless mana can be used for activated abilities. And since his activated ability requires free generic mana, I thought, yeah, maybe it's interesting. Maybe you'll see some play. Angel of Serenity. All right. Very cool card for Angel tribal decks, for Giada, for example. So yeah, this was also a good pickup. We continue with a Precursor Golem. In the special artwork here, I do really like how the artwork is done, and yeah, cool card. This is one of the cards that I wanted to have for my upcoming deck, Psychosis Crawler. I wanted to have it for the text line of whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. So this can be, or can get out of hand really quickly if it stays unanswered. And yeah, it doesn't look that threatening to a lot of players, but I think it's a good card. Foil Curate, take it. Then we have a Deathbloom Ritualist, okay. Might be a very powerful mana dog in Golgari graveyard decks, so yeah, good to have 2 of those. All right, Perennial Behemoth. You may play land cards, or you may play lands from your graveyard. 5 mana, a 2/7, so a great blocker, and for 2 green you can unearth it if it gets removed. I also like the artwork, and I think it's an interesting creature. Yeah, maybe interesting to have. Fate from History, a great board vibe when it comes to artifacts and enchantments. It's not that expensive, and yeah, you might destroy a lot of different artifacts and enchantments of your opponents, and then they end up with only a bare creature token. So yeah, might be interesting. One of the better pickups here is the Misery Shadow, a card that is currently being played in Standard a lot, but also I think it does a lot for its cost, and if a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. This is always powerful to prevent the death triggers of your opponent's creatures, and the great thing is, it's only for your opponent's creatures. So even if your creatures get killed, they would still have death triggers, so this is why I wanted to have this card. Also with the one generic for the pump up, might be a card that isn't that easy to remove. Then we have a Gitixian Puppeteer, all right, for the additional draw deck, or for the draw 2 deck. Really cool card. And what I do like is it helps you while it's on the battlefield, not only to stabilize, but also to drain your opponents. And when it dies, return another target creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So I think for a 4 CMC card, this is actually a really good pickup here. And I'm happy to have 2 of those. Nice. Then we have Fateful Handoff, 4 mana sorcery. Draw cards equal to the mana value of target artifact or creature you control. An opponent gains control of that permanent. Okay, so I think that there are a lot of creatures out there that might be not, people aren't interested in controlling, but I cannot tell of anyone right now. But drawing cards equal to mana value can be a lot, and for 4 mana, who knows, it might see some play. Then we have Ashnod, Flash Mechanist. All right, really cool artwork here. The card itself, yeah, might ramp you if you have a lot of creatures that you can sacrifice. Sadly, this one is limited to creatures, but you still get to create a tapped Power Stone token. And if you ramp enough, you can still exile creature cards from your graveyard, sadly, and create a tapped 3/3 colorless zombie artifact creature token. Skystrike Officer, a great human soldier for the Azorius soldier deck at the moment, and also for future commander decks, simply because the tap 3 untapped soldiers you control, draw a card, is, yeah, shouldn't be underestimated. It's a great mechanic on this card, and for 3 mana this creature does a lot. When it attacks, it creates a token and you can still draw cards from it, so definitely a playable card in my opinion. Then we have Hercule, Master Wizard. I won't read all of the text on this card. We continue with Drafna, founder of Latnam, and yeah, also might synergize really well with artifacts that have ETB effects, and you can still create a copy or copy target artifact spell. So while it's on the stack, you can copy those, and yeah, an artifact synergy decks might be a really cool card. Autonomous Assembler, all right, Vigilance, and also with the prototype mechanic and an assembly worker. Yeah, we will see how this one evolves. And I think one of the last cards is the Zarenth Great Worm, 6 mana worm, 7/6 with trample. And I think what a lot of people overread when they read this card is whenever a land enters the battlefield, create a tapped Power Stone token. Whenever a land, it doesn't mean that it has to enter under your control. It can also enter under the control of an opponent, and you still get to create a tapped Power Stone token. So maybe in a Junt deck that also works with a little bit of reanimation, this card can get out really early. Not only it can be a threat because it's a 7/6 trample, but also because if your opponents want to generate the mana by playing lands, you still get the tapped Power Stone tokens out of it and might synergize with that very well. All right, these were all of the cards that I recently picked up. I hope you enjoyed this little order or collection opening. And yeah, overall, I hope you enjoyed it. And then I would say, see you in the next video. Goodbye, guys.